Professor Diaz here, and in this video I'm going to walk you through P2-33A. This is a great example of fixing errors that have been stated in the accounting. But the reason we do this is not so much so that we can learn how to fix mistakes, although that is important, but really it's more about understanding the theory of accounting, right? If you can fix the mistakes, you understand more the theory of what's going on. And so that's why we're going to go through and work this problem. I think it's a great example to try and understand at a deeper level what the account balances are, how they interact with the trial balance, and so on. So yes, these are errors and we're correcting errors, but it's really not about correcting errors. It's about understanding accounting theory better. So in this problem, we're given a trial balance, and that trial balance is over here. And this is the trial balance as is with all the errors in it, okay? Then we're given this list of errors, A through I, things that the accountants have done wrong or incorrectly, and that's making this trial balance wrong. And so what the problem ultimately wants you to do is fix the errors and then post the correct trial balance. Now, how does this work? The way I think is best to solve this is to use T accounts. These are T accounts. A T account is effectively a shorthand version of making an account that you can go in and just kind of see what's going on. And so remember that these T accounts have the debit side and the credit side, debit side and credit side, and they're all going to have balances. Like, we're going to start by moving the cash balance down here like this, right? And that will be helpful in us seeing where the account balance needs to end up and how much we need to adjust each account. Okay, so let's go through them one at a time and see what's going on. Letter A, cash is understated by $1,500. Okay, so the way you'd solve this is you start by, again, moving this cash balance down. So we're going to say the cash balance currently is 79. Let me make that a little bit smaller here. The cash balance currently is 7,900. Now, it says it's understated by 1,500. The way I would calculate this then is I would say, well, what should the balance be? It's understated by 1,500. Let me get my calculator on my phone out here. Just a minute. So it says the cash balance is understated by 1,500, which means it should be 7,900 plus 1,500. So it should be 9,400. So the question is, what do we need here in this cash account to move the balance from 7,900 to 9,400? Well, in this case, it's pretty straightforward. We need a debit. We need a debit right here, and that debit needs to be for 1,500. So if cash is understated by 1,500, we add this debit, and then cash comes up to 9,400. That's our new balance, okay? So that would be what we'd put into the answer for our new trial balance. Instead of 7,900 here, we'd say 9,400. Moving on to B. A $4,100 debit to accounts receivable was posted as a credit. Okay, so here we have a balance of 6,700. And it says that a $4,100 debit, so it should have gone up by $4,100 here, was actually posted as a credit, right? So what do we need to do? And maybe the way I'll notate this one, let's notate this one this way, just so we can kind of see, because this one is a little bit, once you wrap your head around it, it's not hard, but think about it this way. There's a bunch of transactions up here that led to this balance in this AR account, and one of them was this $4,100 credit, right? So $4,100 credit was there, and that got us to the account balance, which was here, 6,700. And that gets us to a total. Let me get rid of that circle. 6,700. And that gets us to this as a total, right? So I'm going to put a line here to show that this was a total. So we had a bunch of transactions up here, right, that led down. This was the last transaction that got us to that total, which is here. And so I move that down. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't quite make sense, rewind the video and make sure you understand where I'm coming from here. Now, what it says is that there was a $4,100 debit that was posted as a credit, and that's this error here. So we need to make it right. If we simply post a debit of $4,100, that will cancel this out, but we don't have the debit that it should have been. So we need to do this twice. We need to do 4,100 two times. The first one cancels this out, and the second one gets our balance up to where it needs to be. I hope that makes sense. And so you can either debit that twice, which is kind of a logical way to do it, or debit it for 8,200, which is 2 times that number, once to get rid of this and once to actually post the correct debit. And once you do that, we can put a new total on there. 8,700 plus, 6,700 plus 8,200 is 14,900. So this would be then the balance that we would update here. Okay. Moving on to C. A $1,400 purchase of office supplies on account was neither journalized nor posted. Okay, so office supplies is sitting here with a balance of 1,000. And we had just a journal entry that was forgotten, right? We didn't post it or journalize it. So to post this, the journal entry, well, to do the journal entry, 1,400 on account would be supplies, 1,400, and accounts payable, credited, 1,400. Okay, all we're looking at right now is the supplies account. So to post this, we'd simply take this debit of 1,400. And are we supposed to update accounts payable? Yes, we are. We got to update accounts payable too, which I didn't make a T account for that. I didn't anticipate this one. So we're going to need to come over here real quick, no problem. And let's add one more T account. Squeeze it in there. Let me make the line straight. Squeeze in one more T account. And we're going to call that T account accounts payable. And we need to post here this debit to supplies and this credit to AP. Now AP has a starting balance of 34. So let's put all this in. The AP has a starting balance of 34. And then we need to add the 1,400, which gets us up to 4,800. Supplies, we need to add 1,400. Which gets us up to 2,400. And so these would be, in fact, the figures that we would then put into our new trial balance. Hope this is making sense so far. I know I may be going a little quick, but make sure you pause the video and go back and watch if you're not understanding. Equipment, D. Equipment was incorrectly transferred from the ledger as 91.5. It should have been transferred as 83, okay? So we've got a balance here of 83. Oops, I'm sorry, that's what it should be. We've got a balance here of 91.5. And let me switch to blue. I'm all over the place here. 91.5, and we want it to be 83. So the question is, what do we need to do, a debit or a credit, and how much to get it to balance, right? Well, anything we debit here will just make this number bigger. So we need some sort of credit that will reduce this number to 83. So I'm going to get my calculator here. And I see that by taking 91,500 and subtracting 83,000, I get to a credit of 88,500. So we can, this is what's on the trial balance now. And we need to subtract this with a credit, and that gets us to this new balance, which is what it should have been. Okay, so that's how this is working and why I'm creating T accounts for all of these. I know this is tricky. You may need to watch the video all the way through and then watch it again to really make sure you understand. But this is important because it's kind of solidifying some theory and some things that we've learned throughout this chapter. Number E, or letter E rather, salaries expense is overstated by 700. So we've got salaries expense. We've got, where's our salaries expense on our trial balance? Right here is salaries expense. And so let's put that on beginning balance 4,400. And that's too high. It's overstated, right? And so it needs to be less. Coming back, salaries expense is overstated by 700. So I'm going to take the 4,400 and minus the 700, and that equals 3,700, which is what it should be. So that's going to go on our new trial balance. What credit needed to go there to get it there? We just take 4,400 minus 3,700, and that equals the 700, which is what it was overstated by. Let's see, next number. I'm going to put checks here so I stop losing my place. We did A, B, C, D, E, and now we're on F. F says a $300 cash payment for advertising expense was neither journalized nor posted. So we've got to come up here and do the journal entry. It says neither journalized nor posted. So we may have to come back and adjust cash number again. I'll take a look at that in a minute here. $300 cash payment for advertising. So we have cash going down, and it goes down by 300. And we have advertising expense debited, and it goes up by 300. So we'll go ahead and start with the advertising expense. Has got a debit on there. And it looks like we don't have advertising expenses in here anywhere. So it looks like it started with a zero balance, and then we added this $300. So the total balance is going to be 300 for our new adjusted trial balance, or our new trial balance, corrected trial balance. And then we have to adjust the cash balance here. So what we need to do in this case is come over and erase this, because we had to do this understated 1,500 transaction, and then we're going to go ahead and add, subtract out the $300 as well here. I think that's how it is, but I'll check the answer before we do it. The way the problem's set up could be different, but as long as we're recording and posting this, we got to make sure we post that part of it too, because here's a credit for $300 cash. Okay, let's keep moving. I'm going to erase this. And we did F. G. A $200 owner's withdrawal of cash was incorrectly journalized as $2,000. Okay, so we've got, if we come over here to withdrawals, we've got a balance of 5,000. Again, the way I would look at that is say we've got a balance here of 5,000, but that was because of an error, right? A withdrawal of 2,000 was issued, right? So 2,000 was issued here, and that's part of what got us to this $5,000 number. Now what it's saying is that it was actually only supposed to be 200, right? So part of this is right, right? But it's too high. It's too high. It should have only been 1,800. So to get it back down, we need to lower this 200 by 1,800. So we do that with a debit over here to 1,800. 5,000 minus 1,800 is 3,200. And it's just occurred to me, I wonder if we should be posting the cash on a couple of these. We'll go back and check the cash because the journal entry for this, the withdrawal of cash, it says it was incorrectly journalized, right? So to do the correcting journal entry, let me read the problem here again and see if we were supposed to record the journal entry. Prepared the corrected trial balances. Journal entries are not required. Okay, this one does affect cash, so I'm going to go ahead and show the journal entry so that we can adjust cash accordingly. Because we'd want to do a credit here of 1,800. So we're going to credit withdrawal of 1,800. And then we would have more cash on our books because we overstated that of 1,800. Right, so we're probably going to want to come over here and put down this $1,800 cash because that's going to affect that part of our trial balance as well. Next is H. Service revenue was understated by 4,100. So service revenue is sitting on the books right now at 12,350. So we'll put that here. And this says that it was understated by 4,100. So we need to add in 4,100. And so then we'll add those two together. 12,350 plus 4,100 equals 16,450, and that's all we've got to do for H. It was understated, so we've got all this revenue adding up down to there, but we didn't do that because it's understated, so we're just adding in that revenue. And last, I, a 12-month insurance policy was posted as a $1,900 credit to prepaid insurance. Cash was posted correctly, so we don't need to adjust cash in this case, but it says a 12-month insurance policy was posted as a $1,900 credit to prepaid insurance. Prepaid insurance is an asset because it's an expense that's been prepaid. I always tell my students, if your mom or grandma went and prepaid a bunch of rent for you, wouldn't that be considered a good thing to you? It'd be an asset, right? Because you've got something of value to you. You've got your rent prepaid, right? So whenever anything's prepaid, this is an asset. And assets have a normal balance. That means they go up with a debit. So if it was posted as a $1,900 credit, this is wrong. So I'm going to come over here and take a look at what is our prepaid insurance balance at. It's at 300. And part of getting to that 300 was this $1,900 credit, right? Put that line to show that that's part of the total getting to here. So we need to, it should have been a $1,900 debit. So again, we need to do the times 2 thing that we did up here. We need to both put a $1,900 debit to erase this one, and then another $1,900 debit to put it on correctly. Or we can just take 1,900 times 2, which is 3,800, and put a debit there. And 300 plus 3,800 puts our balance at 4,100. I want to go ahead and add up now, total up cash. So I'm going to do that by taking 7,900 plus 1,500 minus 300 plus 1,800, and that equals 10,900. I just checked these numbers. I mean, I feel confident in my accounting skills, but I wanted to make sure if I'm posting this video, I'm giving you guys the right numbers. But these are all correct. We just went through and solved them one by one. And, you know, once you get this in your head, you really don't need to do the T accounts. The reason I did the T accounts is I really wanted you to understand what's happening in each account balance, right? Why are we changing things the way we are? What's the number here at the top, or in some cases, like when we've got this subtotal, this is what's on the current balance sheet, and all the numbers at the bottom, this is what not balance sheet, this is what the trial balance we're trying to get to is, right? And so these are the numbers that are actually the new trial balance numbers. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this clarifies, some of the sticky points with this problem. Even if you got the problem right already, I think you've probably picked up a few things. So let me know if you have questions, and good luck.